Hello, and welcome back. My name is AJ from the Byte Academy, and today I'm going to be going over, is SEO worth it for my small business? So, as a lot of questions like this go, I'm going to tell you that it really depends. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to this. There are people who work in SEO who really strongly believe that it is the end-all be-all of your digital presence, and there are people who think that it is a waste of time. While I have been working in SEO for over 10 years, I do find myself falling somewhere in the middle of what is necessarily right for one company might not be right for another company. So there are some pros of SEO. One, it is monetarily free. If you have a website already, there is nothing paid extra going into it for you to write content and to go through your titles and descriptions and all of that and put together a plan and execute it. It is a lot of time, and if you need to hire a content writer or something like that, that's where the cost comes in, but you're not paying for placement in the search engines. The second pro in the SEO column is that most of the stuff that you would do for SEO, you probably should be doing for other marketing. When you are creating pages and you're doing the titles and descriptions, a lot of that information is pulled if you share that link other places. So you want to make sure that those look good anyway. The third thing is it can have a lasting impact in between campaigns. When you're not running ads or emails, people can still search you and find you. And then it also supports word of mouth referrals. So if you rely a lot on people telling other people about your company and then searching for it, then you want to make sure that your SEO is in place, and it's definitely worth you for that. The cons of SEO, it takes a long time. So if you launch a new website or change your name or make big changes, you're going to see your SEO be impacted negatively while Google kind of gets its feet under it. If it's a brand new site, you're looking at a minimum of 4 to 6 months before you really start ranking for things. It's gotten better, but for a large part, like the algorithm still needs time to learn about you and your business and what search results to show you for. The one thing that I always tell people to keep in mind is that Google's primary goal is to make sure that its users stay using its properties. So it does want to make sure it's giving good results, and so that means taking some time with it. The second thing is that it takes consistency. So you can start with a baseline where your titles and descriptions, your schema, all of that good stuff is really in place, and then you don't touch the website for 2 years. That's not going to do a lot for you. You do need to be consistently making updates, publishing new products, new blogs, updates, just changing the website to make sure that it is kind of lived in feeling. And then there are times, the third con that I want to touch on is that there are times where the best thing SEO-wise will conflict with UX or UI decisions. So a great example of this is if you have a lot of services that are very similar but have different names. Let's say you are selling makeup, and let's say you have a lipstick, a lip balm, and a lip stain, and you want to target all 3 of those keywords, and like those are categories, those are going to be 3 different pages. Whereas from a UX UI perspective, you might want to have like a page with all of those on there and have them sortable. That's a very specific example, but there are other places where you end up with these websites that are sprawling 50-page sites because they have all of these services, but the services, could have been on half as many or even like a fifth as many pages, and it have been a better user experience. It would have been easier to navigate for users. So there are times where it does conflict with helping your customers have an easy time navigating between services and pages. So that is the basics of the pros and cons. Some factors that you should consider about if you want to make SEO your primary focus for how you lay out your website is if you are starting a new company, a lot of times you have time, but you don't have money. So you might have the time to be writing blog articles, putting them out there, sharing them on social media, reaching out to people, doing all of the legwork of SEO while you build up business. And then, like I said earlier, it's not monetarily draining at that point. So you can utilize that time that way. And that will give you a great foundation for moving forward. The other reason why you might want to switch your focus to SEO would be if you are a well-established company, you have people recommending you, but people are having trouble finding you when they search for you. That would be a time to really evaluate your marketing plan and maybe pivot over to taking some steps to optimizing your search presence. Some factors why you may want to not focus on SEO would be you're running a lot of paid ads, and those are going to landing pages, and that's your primary traffic source. You then want to control the user experience, and the emphasis then is going to be on creating a great user experience so that they convert. The second thing is maybe you've gotten busy enough that you don't have time to keep up with the content, but not so busy that you can hire a content writer. In that case, you might want to switch your focus away because there are better ways to spend your time. Hopefully at that point you would have laid a good foundation anyway. And then the third is you have content coming in from other places and you want to focus your efforts on putting that content like on YouTube or another site. You will notice that a lot of creators on YouTube might not have their own website to start with, and it kind of makes sense. The one thing that I will caution you with is if you're putting things on someone else's platform, that platform has control over them. You do want to make sure that you do establish yourself with a different presence with your own site where you control the content, you control what's posted, so that if for some reason you do need to take your stuff down off of YouTube or whatever site you're on, you have kind of a home base to come back to that is established. So all of that to say that I do think for most people, SEO to some extent is worth it. It's certainly not going to hurt, and making sure that you have attractive titles and descriptions that encourage click-throughs is important. Having that foundation where you can be found if needed is important. But that you might not want to delve into the deeper SEO of really having SEO drive your content or drive your web decisions. The one thing that I will caution is as Google evolves, and most of my tips for SEO will be Google focused, there isn't a lot of times where that is not what you want to focus on optimizing for. As Google evolves, its continuous goal is to keep people using it and to deliver users a great experience. So for some searches, that means that they're going to take content off your website anyway and show it in their knowledge graph, and that can impact your search presence. Other times it means that they are going, well, I don't want to say it like that. It also means that in the future they could end up prioritizing the UX UI experience over the actual structure of the website. And as we have seen, they are more and more able to use synonyms and like words to determine search intent and to deliver different results based on that. So while weighing your decisions, if the UX UI one is one of the things that you're considering, I don't think that it necessarily hurts to lean into the UX UI over the, strictly speaking, like traditional SEO, like every keyword has a landing page direction. So it's all in all, most of the time SEO in some extent is going to be worth it, but there are some cases where it's not, and you do need to weigh those very carefully. If you do have any questions about that, you can feel free to leave them in the comments or email me at aj@bitesizedigital.com. And if you are enjoying my daily ramblings, then I do encourage you to subscribe to our channel and let me know what other questions you guys have that I can answer and do a video on. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.